This is Minecraft, and this is Minecraft Pixelmon. Today I'm going to be spending 100 days catching and training Pixelmon to build the ultimate ground type team. My goal for this video is to defeat the shock gym, which sounds like a piece of cake, but is a lot harder than you think. If you want to play the mod and have a chance to be in future videos, you can join my server using the instructions down below. Now without further ado, let's pick a starter. I browsed through the custom starters and didn't have a lot of options for ground types, so I thought my safest bet was Gibble. Did not regret that at all. I mean, just look at her little dance. How could I have not taken her? As soon as I sent her out, this guy tried to battle me with his Dragonite. I knew this wouldn't end well, but it was a cool first battle. Not a great start, but I healed my Gibble with slash poke heal and fought this other guy. Not sure how she did it, but she managed to take out a level 10 Cubone. He then sent out his Blacephalon, and I could tell he just wanted to flex his Pokemon. He decided to finish the battle with his Lucario, and that was the end of that. Now I'm not sure how long it'll take to build my team, but I am sure that it's going to be very difficult. Later on, I asked everyone to come to spawn and show off their coolest Pokemon. These nerds had all sorts of legendaries and shiny Pokemon, and I honestly admired their dedication. It got really crazy at one point, and I was a little worried my PC was going to crash. Now if you guys enjoy seeing the Pokemon on the screen and want to join the server, you can do so by following the steps in the description. It's completely free, and we have a great community waiting for you. Once you join, you can type in /tutorial and it will tell you everything you need to know. I also highly encourage you to type in /modpack so you can get a free Master Ball. The server also has some pretty nice people. Someone even gave me an EXP candy, which I gave to my Gibble. This guy was showing off his shiny Garchomp while I did that, and I couldn't wait to see Gibble transform into that one day. Now as I headed towards the Poke Center, I came across this incredible looking Greninja with red marks around its body and a purple tongue as a scarf. It looked terrifying, and it kinda looked like it was defending the building. After that, I then get invited to visit this amazing mansion in the woods. The design looked stunning. He had all these cool things inside and had a peaceful looking garden on the outside. There's a nice fountain in the front and a pool at the back. After seeing this build, I definitely wanted to move in with him. He was even kind enough to offer a spare room for me and Gibble in his home. This place was really nice to explore, but instead of settling down, I decided to focus on getting materials. I used /RGP to get some starter tools necessary for the journey. While getting the stuff, a player asked me to TP to them and showed me this huge shiny Gengar. Obviously this boss was too much for my Gibble to handle, so the battle ended within seconds. But the same guy who offered me a place in his home let me borrow his Mewtwo so that I could defeat the boss. That was really kind of him, so I thought the least I could do was make him proud with this win. However, the Gengar was just too powerful and wiped out my team. This guy wanted me to keep the Mewtwo, but that was way too big of a handout for me to keep. I ended up giving it back to him, but it was pretty cool to use a legendary at the start. While looking around for some wild Pokemon to battle, I suddenly got a basic crate key. I headed back to spawn to use the key on the crate and got some rare candies. I was extremely fortunate to get these because now I can evolve my Gibble into Gabite. He ended up learning Bite and Slash, so I'm glad I now have some decent moves. With that, we can now ride our Pokemon, giving us a fast way to travel around the server. Now you might be asking how I got this key, and the simple answer to that is by voting. You can vote for the server every day using /vote, and with that you can get a vote crate key. For every 200 votes, everyone online on the server gets a basic key. You can get tons of helpful items in crates such as money and tokens, and if you're lucky enough, even rare candies. Now later, I wandered into this building and found a shiny black Rayquaza in front of me. The guy who owned it wanted to take me to his base, and if he has a Pokemon like that, I'm sure he has even cooler things to show. When I teleported to his base, I immediately got a headache after seeing this massive Ditto farm. But that wasn't even the craziest part of his base. I went inside and turned to see not one, not two, but 4 rainbow Ho-Ohs inside these glass enclosures. I gotta say, his collection is really impressive. Now a sign told me to jump on the carpet, and once I did, I got teleported to his shop. It looks like this guy sells a lot more than just Dittos. He's selling Froakie, Riolu, Trico, Scorbunny, and a bunch of other Pokemon. This guy obviously knows his way around the server, and knows how to make a lot of money as well. If you guys ever need advice or have any questions, it's best to ask people like this, or people with ranks, since they seem to be the most knowledgeable. As I was heading out, I ended up finding the holy grail of his shop. A shiny Battle Bond Greninja for 7 million. I'm pretty sure this is worth more than any legendary in the game, so I'm not surprised by the price. Speaking of legendaries, I head out and enter another building filled with them. I'm a little surprised he doesn't have a Moltres though. I think it'd be really cool if he had the full trio. But anyway, I can't even imagine how long it must have taken him to collect all these Pokemon. His hard work and dedication is really impressive. I'm not gonna lie, his collection did make me a little jealous, so I decided to take out my frustration on this guy. I'm sorry, Clint, you were just at the wrong place at the wrong time. No hard feelings, buddy. After that, I thought that with all these bases I've visited, I should have a base of my own. While exploring, I came across a Charmander and Scorbunny den, which I took care of easily. If I was doing fire type only, I would totally put them on my team, but for some reason I chose ground instead. After defeating the Scorbunny den, I got invited to a village by someone on the server. Now if someone invites you to come check out their place, I recommend you should always go, because you might find something cool there, or you might make a new friend. As soon as I got there, I was greeted by all the other villagers and they looked happy that I was here. I looked around the cozy homes and it was overall a nice experience. The community was really friendly here and it seemed like the perfect place for new players to stay in. I asked the leader what the name of the village was and they said it was Star Town because in this town we all shine together. It might sound a bit cheesy, but I do like how wholesome these guys are. Questionable name choices aside, I found a house I wanted to settle in and already had my housewarming party after setting it as my home. After setting down some of my items inside my chest, the owners of the town held a speech welcoming me into their community. Since I've just joined this town, a good way to know more about the people here is by having a tournament. The kind of Pokemon they have on their teams is pretty telling of what kind of trainer they are. Plus, the spirit of competition never fails to bring a community together. One of the people in the village even had the same idea as me and I was on board as soon as he recommended it. Unfortunately, I don't think I'll be able to join since I only have one Pokemon on me so far and Gabite is still pretty underleveled. My Pokemon won't even be able to bear the Zapdos. All I'll be getting is fried sashimi if I go up against this guy. Aside from the Zapdos, it would also be hard to go against these players. If they have Mew on their team, who else could they have? It didn't take long for the community to set up the tournament. They quickly set up the arena and started to battle. I wish everyone there good luck and to have fun. Now that I'm no longer homeless and finally have a place for myself, I ventured out and happened to see this Donphan nearby. Let's see what type of Pokemon you are, and perfect! A ground type. You'll make a good addition to my team. I wasn't going to waste this opportunity, so I sent Gabite out. I managed to lower Donphan's HP, but sadly, Gabite was defeated. It didn't really bother me since I wanted to have dual types on my team anyway. I think dual types are usually just cooler Pokemon, which is why I want them. After healing Gabite, I returned to my quest to find some ground Pokemon. I was climbing down this mountain when I saw a Quagsire. Look at how he's just chilling down there, unbothered in his little hole. What a lucky find. Quagsire's a water/ground type, so he's perfect for our team because he's the best dual type in the game. I sent out Gabite and spammed Dragon Breath on Quagsire until I managed to lower his HP. I then threw an Ultra Ball at Quagsire and caught him. From being trapped in his hole to being trapped in this little ball, I was very happy that I finally caught my first ever ground type Pokemon. Now let's put Quagsire back into my ball and continue on with our journey. As I was walking around, I happened to walk towards this 4-star Thievul den. He can't join the team since he's a dark type, but I do want the rewards from it though. Now as I entered the den, I realized I just made a huge mistake. I forgot to ask other players to join this raid. I obviously can't fight this den on my own since my Pokemon aren't strong yet. I was hit with a storm and I was blown out of the den. Losing that den left a bad taste in my mouth since I really wanted the rewards from that. That taste quickly turned sweet though as soon as I saw this Gligar floating around. Gligar is a ground/flying type Pokemon, which is a perfect combination for my team. I let Gabite do his thing, we got Gligar to low HP, and we successfully caught the third member of our team. We already have half of our team now, so things are looking pretty good. I went back to spawn and showed off these bad boys. These three are already extremely good Pokemon, so people better watch out for what's about to come. I returned them into their Pokeballs and proceeded to find the missing half. It wasn't long before I found the fourth member of our team. Rhyhorn looks like it can take a hit or two, so I guess he'd be a solid addition. As I was getting ready to catch the beast, I got invited to a 5-star ground type raid. I went to Finstar 9000 in good faith that the Pokemon in the den would be a better ground type than the Rhyhorn I just found. The Pokemon turned out to be a dual type, which is just what I wanted. My raid team was going all out and was damaging the guy heavily. After a fierce and tough battle in the den, we collect our rewards, but the greatest of them all is the 4th member of our team, Camerupt. I was about to prepare for my journey again when a stroke of luck brought this Excadrill into view. This Pokemon is a steel/ground type, so I immediately locked onto it. I was prepared to make this guy the 5th member of my team. My raid teammates cheered me on as I engaged with it in battle. I was worried when it got Gabite to low HP, but with a little effort, we managed to catch another dual type for our team. Now it's time to show off our team with its new members. I have my Gabite, Quagsire, Gligar, Camerupt, and Excadrill. I only need one more Pokemon and our all ground type team will finally be complete. While I was at spawn, I got this random invitation for a battle from Bushman12345. This might be a good chance to test out our new team, so I accepted the battle and we went straight into business. I sent out Quagsire to battle his Shuckle and spammed Muddy Water, which defeated the yellow turtle. I was surprised though when he sent out this Entei. From Shuckle to a legendary Pokemon. A fierce exchange between Quagsire and Entei caused both of them to faint. I then sent out Gabite, our best Pokemon. I was very confident with Gabite fighting, but then he sent out Hoopa and, well, I'm now less confident. Hoopa one-shotted Gabite, Gligar, and Camerupt. Excadrill, our newest addition, fought very well and somehow won with the help of Gligar's poison. My confidence returned, but only before he sent out his Rayquaza. Rayquaza transformed, and I kept wondering how this guy was so stacked on legendaries. So again, we got one-shotted and all of our Pokemon fainted. At least we defeated 2 of his Pokemon, right? That's enough for me, I guess. As I was recovering from the shock of having to deal with a Mega Rayquaza, I got invited to another raid. A 4-star ground type raid is the best way to cheer me up, so I accepted the invite and got ready for the raid. We then fought the Runerigus, and I was just amazed by how cool he looked. We defeated him, and I would have loved to make him my 6th Pokemon, but sadly, I failed to catch him. Just as I was watching this Charizard Mega Evolve, this strong looking Geodude happened to be in front of it. I really don't want a Geodude on my team, but he has an insane ability, so I might as well. After attacking him and cutting his health in half, I threw a Great Ball, capturing the Geodude. We now have 6 ground type Pokemon and our team is finally complete. I was minding my own business when Bushman challenged me again. Naturally I accepted the challenge, but I think Bushman just wants to beat me again. And that thought turned out to be true because, well, we got swept. After fighting Bushman, Fracture challenged me to another battle and I accepted this as well. This guy sent out a legendary right from the start and defeated Gabite with ease. I sent out Excadrill, but he quickly swapped it out with another legendary. After 2 moves, he swapped it out with, yes, another legendary, Zygarde. Zygarde proceeded to defeat Excadrill in 1 hit. I sent out Gligar, but he got taken out by Zygarde in just 2 moves. Same happened with Camerupt, but Quagsire came in clutch and defeated it with only 21 HP left. Then, Lugia appeared and destroyed Quagsire. I sent out Geodude and managed to get a Magnitude in to see how much damage it would do. It did a decent amount, but I still got defeated though. After that, another guy challenged me, which will be my 3rd straight challenge. He had a scary looking Garchomp that one-shotted my Gabite and took out my Quagsire. Excadrill managed to last a little longer than the first 2, but got taken out as well. Looks like I'll be here for a while since everyone seems to want to battle with me. Garchomp is still unfazed as he destroys our team like a boss. He defeated Camerupt and sends Garchomp back in exchange with a Turtwig. An obvious disadvantage for Geodude, and it sealed the deal for our defeat. We got wiped in this battle, but at least we managed to see what Gabite is capable of in the future. I was tired from battles and decided to flee the area, but then they started chasing me. Even Groudon is after my neck. They didn't stop following me no matter how much I ran. I sent out Camerupt in hopes of having him outrun these people, which proved to be effective. I managed to get away and was exhausted from battling, i.e. losing, but I decided to do one more battle. The 4th challenge was by this guy called Master Treevee. He sent out a Mimikyu first and I already knew I was screwed. I was not happy with his matchup and dreaded having to go against this guy. Mimikyu defeated Excadrill but was defeated by my Geodude. Next up was Garchomp, so I sent out my Gabite. Garchomp destroyed our team in the battle before this one, and again, he one-shots Gabite and takes out Quagsire, Camerupt, and Gligar. At this point, I was very disappointed in myself for losing all 4 battles, although my team is not even close to being battle ready, so it was to be expected. I also stopped by to see this Lopunny being transformed by a guy who nicknamed himself Lopunny Simp. It's a pretty weird name, but I've been on the server for a while, so I've seen much worse. Now those last few matches made me consider swapping some of my Pokemon out for some stronger ones. And as much as I like Camerupt in my team, I just feel like he's not that good and that I can find better. Someone like this Rhydon perhaps. Its rock and ground typing not only makes it sturdy, but also a perfect addition to my team. So I captured Rhydon and swapped him with Camerupt. Now I always seem to forget this, but Rhydon evolves in a different way than most Pokemon. In order to get Rhyperior, we need to trade him with a Protector. I'll need to figure out how to get one, but in the meantime, check out this guy's lineup. His Groudon is named Deadpool, he has an awesome looking Greninja, and a purple Rayquaza named Rayquaza. I got into a battle with him, and my Gligar went up against his Greninja. After he turned Gligar into Gligon, things only got worse as his Greninja turned into Ash Greninja. He demolished my Rhydon, but then my Excadrill managed to defeat it and avenge his fallen comrades. Just when I saw a spark of hope, his Rayquaza came out and took out my Excadrill. Our Rocky Boy is next, and he survived one of his attacks, but the battle was pretty much over at this point. After the battle, I asked this guy if he had a Protector, and he did. I guess I'm not the only one excited, since this guy was spamming me with Great Balls, hoping to capture me I guess? After receiving the Protector, I headed on over to the Poke Center. I arrived and started to trade Pokemon with Master Treevee. I traded my Rhydon for this Articuno, and the most amazing thing happened. I traded with Master Treevee again, and got my Pokemon back. I always thought Rhyperior was one of the coolest Pokemon ever. I mean, just look at this absolute unit. He looks like he eats Big Macs on the daily. Now that transformation was awesome, but not as cool as Groudon transforming. This man is huge and probably needs a Big Mac every minute. After that, I went back to 3TB and tried giving the Protector back, but to my surprise, he didn't want it. He distanced himself from me like I had COVID or something. He completely refused to take it, so I got up out of there and continued on with my journey. As I was leaving the Poke Center, I saw this invisible guy twerking. I turned back and went for a second look, and he twerked on me again. Who could this mysterious man be, and why does he have a magnet on his head? Anyway, I came across this guy riding his Torterra, which coincidentally is also a ground type. I just know this guy is strong, and I feel like I should replace one of my Pokemon for him. I also think I need more color in my team, and he is green after all. Now as I was wandering around, I got invited by Finstar 9000 to a 5-star raid. As we all know, I never reject raid invitations, so naturally I accepted. Raids in my opinion are the best way to level up since you can get XL candies. We started the battle and my raid team was quite OP, so we defeated it in only 2 moves. No XL candies, but we did get some nice rewards. Although, we did fail to catch the Glalie. I gave my rare candies to Gabite, and after that, we joined another raid close by. We finished the second raid, but we also failed to catch the Pokemon again. However, I sent out Gabite again, fed him the rewards we gained, and he finally evolved into Garchomp. He learns Crunch, which is great and all, but I'm more excited that he can fly now. I immediately got on his back and started flying around. Look at the view, you can practically see everything from up here. Seems like everyone is super psyched that Gabite evolved, and they're celebrating with us. But I'm not done with him yet, because I might actually get his Mega Stone and evolve him one more time. I also came across this Turtwig in the forest, which I was super excited for. After violently playing with it, I threw a Great Ball and I managed to catch it. After some thinking, I decided that Rhyperior would be the best candidate to switch out for Turtwig. It has been an honor to have you on my team, Rhyperior, but I'm afraid we have to go our separate ways. I did also consider switching Geodude out instead, but his ability Sturdy is just way too good and I feel like I'll need it for the gym battle. The plan now is to train them as hard as I can so that I can be ready for the final battle. I did notice that I needed a Razor Fang to evolve Gligar into Gliscor. so I bought one from the shop for $1,600. I then went on to a 3-star den, but this time just went solo. Turns out the den box was a break-sin, which we destroyed in 3 turns. I summoned Gligar and fed him the EXP candy. Candy usually destroys teeth, but this time, after he evolved, he went from having a couple of teeth to a complete set. I then noticed that I was holding a rank up key. We got the key when we evolved Gligar and leveled up on the server. With that said, I went to spawn and used the key to open up the rank up crate. The crate usually gives you vote keys, but it can also potentially give you a rare key as well. In this case, we got vote keys, and I used these to open up the vote crates, which gave us nothing but junk. After opening the crates, Gliscor and I decided to fly around the village. Now I began to wonder, how can this guy even lift me up? Does he have super strength? And second, why am I floating on top of him? I think it's pretty cool that he can pretty much fly anything with wings, but it does look kind of weird. After spending some time flying with Gliscor, I then went to spawn and voted for the server. Voting for the server will not only keep my streak up, but it'll give me some cash as well. I got tons of cool stuff, but the most important item had to be the rare candies. I sent out Turtwig because I really wanted to see him evolve. I spammed these on Turtwig, and the sugar from the candies made him a lot bigger. The cute little Turtwig I had is now a tanky Grottle. Now that he's evolved, I'm almost done with all my evolutions. It feels like yesterday it was just me and Gibble, but now we have a whole team full of strong Pokemon. Now as I roamed the desert hoping to find a Grappler to replace my Geodude, I somehow found a Pokeball village. I think this is a really creative idea, and I'd love to check out these homes. I went inside this Great Ball home, and I found a picture collection of legendary Pokemon. I wonder if he actually caught all of them. I then visited this Ultra Ball home, and well, at least he had a bed and a computer. After that, I went inside a normal Pokeball home, and this one was also kinda eh. But after leaving that, I found this Master Ball house, and already knew this would be the best. I then entered the house, and was amazed by how good the interior looks. Definitely a home I would love to live in. To the owner of the house, you have great taste, my friend. Once I got out of the village, I headed towards the desert, and with no effort found a Graveler. I sent out Grottle and tried capturing this Rockman. Just as I was about to use my last move, he self-destructed and even took Grottle down with him. I sent out Gliscor this time to fight off another Graveler, but this one also self-destructed. As I was trying to find another Graveler, I saw this NPC and decided to fight him. Naturally, I destroyed him with Garchomp. I then found yet another Graveler. Let's hope he doesn't go YOLO. I sent out Grottle again, and this time Graveler used Rock Throw and Defense Curls instead of self-destructing. I then brought out Quagsire to replace Grottle and tank some damage. Afterwards, I threw an Ultra Ball, but Graveler escaped. I threw another Ultra Ball, and this time I managed to capture it. I glanced at his evolution info and discovered that in order to evolve Graveler into Golem, we need to trade him. I arrived at the Poke Center and traded with my good old friend Master Treevee. After he receives the Graveler, it immediately evolves into this boulder-shaped tortoise called Golem. This man went from being a rock to a reptile, which is really cool. After looking at the guy, I decided to mount him and was caught off guard when he rolled into a ball. I've played this game for a while, but I didn't expect this at all. And if you stop, he pops right back up. Looks like Golem's having as much fun as I am. Surprisingly, riding a boulder is comfy on the butt since it's like a massage. After that, I headed to the snow plains and encountered a Piloswine. After defeating the Piloswine, I encountered another Piloswine and beat it up. Since I don't have to worry about catching any more Pokemon, I can now focus all my attention into training. I encountered this Barbaracle and sent out Garchomp, who bulldozed his way into victory. Hopefully with enough battles, we can level up our team and have them learn even more powerful moves. I then went on this 4-star den and immediately started the raid. It was a really fierce battle, and Garchomp got seriously hurt. Garchomp fainted, but at the same time, Mantine was also defeated. After the raid, I sent out Grottle and fed him the EXP candies we got during the battle. Giving Grottle the candy turned out for the best, as Grottle suddenly started to evolve into a huge Torterra. He also learned Earthquake, which is the best ground move ever and one of the best Pokemon moves in general. I hopped on Torterra's back and rode off into the sunset. Well, in this case, the snow plains. I then went on another 4-star den raid, which happened to be a huge Leafeon. The battle only went on for 2 turns, and this time Garchomp came out fully healthy. The very next day, I came across this area flooded with water. This place looks really cool. Each tree even looks like a waterfall. If I had scales, I 100% would live here. Besides, it looks like rent is cheap in this area too. I then went to yet another 4-star raid den. This time we're fighting a mountain-sized Torterra. I definitely wish I caught this guy instead of the Turtwig, since I would have saved so many rare candies. We struggled to fight him off because of the leech seed it planted on the first turn. Even the Mewtwo fainted alongside our Garchomp. Solgaleo tried doing some damage to Torterra, but he once again regenerated. Thankfully, the Mewtwo was revived and used a Fire Blast to take out Torterra. After fighting off a huge tortoise in the raid den, I found this cute little Charmander in the rain. And just when I was about to catch Charmander, I got teleported. That timing couldn't have been worse. I asked this guy if he set homes near any gyms, which is why I ended up teleporting to him. I was then teleported into the grass gym, which is a terrible matchup for our ground team. I thought it couldn't get any worse than grass and water, but it did. The next gym was the ice gym, which is probably the hardest gym for our team. This man took me to the only gyms that countered my Pokemon, so I thought he was onto something. However, he did take me to a gym that was manageable. Next gym we teleported into was the Seal Gym, a gym that I actually countered. My Pokemon's levels are all scattered though, so I might not be able to defeat it. I challenged a Pokemaniac from the Seal Gym, but then he sent out Skarmory, a chicken made out of steel. I guess Popeye's wasn't crunchy enough. This battle was looking a bit one-sided, so I swapped Garchomp with Golem. Skarmory defeated Golem in one hit, so he sent out Batman himself, Gliscor. But Skarmory defeated Gliscor in one hit as well. Surely Torterra will destroy this guy, but he didn't. And at this point, I knew it was time to give up since my Pokemon were not ready for this at all. Now during the battle, I got this basic key and went to spawn to open a crate. We got $10,000 from this crate, so it seems like luck is finally on our side again. After that, I went back to training and then found this guy who was really eager to fight me. My Garchomp went up against Sceptile and managed to defeat it in a couple of turns. Now I thought the rest of his Pokemon would be around this level, but then he sent out Arceus, the god of Pokemon himself. I did not expect that at all, and to save time, I just left the battle. Now when I came back to spawn, I was greeted by a trainer riding his Haunter. I could tell he wanted me to help him evolve it, so I thought, why not, and I headed towards the Poke Center. Haunter evolved into Gengar, and before returning the Pokemon to his owner, I decided to ride it because I own it now. But I ended up giving it back to him because I know he'd be devastated if I took his prized possession and all he got was a Geodude. Man, I do one little trade and suddenly there's all these Pokemon here. After that, the guy I traded with sent out his shiny Charizard and I decided to fight it. Our Garchomp has a higher level than Charizard, so we quickly defeated it. He then sent out an Araquanid, which was also easily defeated. My opponent decided to use another water type against our Garchomp, but Garchomp is just too strong. This guy sent out his last 3 Pokemon, including the Gengar we helped him get, but was ultimately taken down by this beast. I haven't won a battle in a long time, so I was hyped to fight against another player. At first it looked like Garchomp was a good match for the Sableye, but he withdrew it and instead sent out a shiny Dragonite. The Dragonite then proceeded to one-shot our team. Well, at least we didn't go down without a fight. I guess I'm not ready to fight players yet, so I guess I'll stick with NPCs for now. Gyms are great for farming tons of EXP, but maybe the Ice Gym is not the best place to start. I thought it was going well at first since Garchomp took out the first Pokemon, but I didn't realize that he just missed his attack. Glaceon then proceeded to single-handedly defeat our team. I then challenged this NPC from the Sand Village, but the real challenge was trying to see what was going on in the battle. The only thing I know is I beat him without any effort. After that battle, I raided this guy's home and defeated his set of Pokemon. Next person I fought had a Beartic, who looked scary but wasn't scary in battle. Her Cleffa though kept trying to make Garchomp fall asleep, which prolonged this destined one-shot. After that, I fought this trainer, as well as this trainer, and this trainer, and him as well. I took a break from training and teleported to God Aura's base, which was somewhere in the snowy tundra biome. I found out this place was called Tusk Village and was greeted by God Aura himself. where the people's hearts are as warm as the ice walls are cold. It is the perfect place to spend your winter holiday. Watch your step and have fun. But beware, Tusk Village has been experiencing random tremors recently, so try and stay inside. I guess this place has its fair share of problems. I was then captivated by this huge gate and was welcomed with another set of signs. I think I'm about to enter one of the best builds I've ever seen. I called out the other trainers and they TP'd to where I am so we can tour this place together. Seems like everyone is here, so I began to look at this place and checked out this cabin first. This place looks really detailed and it's obviously well built. I then went to this house at the opposite side of this cabin that looks really neat. I'm not surprised this village won the server's building competition. I mean, just look at this place. When I was admiring this beacon covered in ice, I was left even more amazed with the icy pillars surrounding Tusk Village. I don't think anybody can top this, but if you think you can, just let me know and I'll be sure to check it out. While there, I saw this huge cobblestone clock tower, which kind of reminded me of the church you see in regular villages. After exploring the small cabins in this area, I felt it was time to explore the big house, which just screamed main attraction of the village. The interior of the house was much more modernized than I thought. After pushing some buttons that didn't work, I went down into this new area. Seems like the creator also put in some incredible lore into the build, which only made it cooler. When I went down, the sight of a massive Manmo Swine build was the first thing that caught my eye. They even had a computer reserved for me. Time to check my channel's analytics. Although it might be scary as it has been a while since my last upload. I decided to hit the books instead and catch up on the lore on this build. Turns out, because of the rumors surrounding the power of the infinite ice stone, a trainer and his Mamoswine journeyed to find the stone. However, because of a huge snowstorm, they were unable to come back. Despite trying to be saved by his trainer, the Mamoswine with the power of the infinite ice stone encased himself, the trainer, and the stone in large ice walls that soon became the Tusk Village. That was an amazing story. I feel like anybody who makes a village needs to add some lore, which will entice people to join. Props to God Aura for making this one. Tusk Village was an overall fun and amazing build to explore and experience. I can definitely see why it won, and like I said before, this is the best village I've ever seen. Later, I flew around with Garchomp when all of a sudden I noticed someone following me. I kept changing direction to see if he was following me, and he really was. I tried to shake him off, but he kept up with my speed. I then got the brilliant idea to TP to spawn to escape this guy for good. But then there he was, still in pursuit. He was 10 steps ahead. I can't escape the yellow man. I eventually lost the duck though, and found myself with Rainbow Plays and his Kyogre. I asked him what he needed help with, and suddenly his Kyogre transformed beside us, which is always really cool to look at. He said that he needed help with draining this monument. He was using sand to build a perimeter on the water, and I was about to help, but I also knew it would literally take forever to drain this place. So I decided to let him take care of that and fight these NPCs in the water. These NPCs didn't stand a chance against my dragon. I managed to defeat every single one of these trainers without switching to other Pokemon. While I was fighting, the server was about to restart. After a few minutes, I found myself at the hub along with a few familiar faces. It was at this time that I decided to have a competition on who had the best skin. Since everyone is already circled here, let's check out their skins. We have a cow, a rainbow man, an astronaut, a penguin, an android, and a very cool duck. There's no debate, the winner is the very cool duck, who I realized was the one chasing me earlier. Once I hopped back on the server, I flew around this other player's ocean monument and thought this was what Rainbow Plays wanted to do. First thing that caught my eye was the wall of water, and I didn't even want to think about how long it must have taken him to do that. This place also has a lot of grass blocks and trees, which is a very nice touch. I didn't spend much time inside the monument, but I'm sure it's lovely. As I flew to the top, I realized this place was a lot bigger than I had imagined. I walked on the glass and you could see how deep the monument is compared to the water sea level. As it got closer to night, the owner wanted to show me something, and so he teleported me to this room full of picture frames. I'm thinking he's showing me every cool Pokemon he has. A lot of these Pokemon are legendaries, and some are shiny as well. I went outside and found out that I was in his village. I then saw this Ultra Ball and was really amazed. This is probably the best Ultra Ball that I've ever seen. After spending time checking the place out, I decided to challenge him to a Pokemon battle, which he accepted. I then sent Garchomp to battle Amoonguss? Not sure why he had an Amoonguss if he had all those legendaries, but I did defeat him with a couple of Dragon Claws. He then sent out a Zacian, and at this point I knew he was just going easy on me at first. I tried using Excadrill, but he barely did any damage to it. Golem on the other hand survived Zacian's attack and retaliated with Earthquake, which defeated him. After that, he sent out a Black Rayquaza, then transformed him into a Mega Rayquaza. The air that surrounded Rayquaza made Golem faint in an instant, and pretty soon my Gliscor and Quagsire were defeated as well. I wouldn't be able to defeat the rest of his team, but I probably could have beaten that Rayquaza if I played that a bit better. After losing that battle, I was challenged again by another trainer. He sent out Lucario to battle Garchomp, but Bulldoze was too strong for him. Aegislash was the next in his arsenal, and it was welcomed by a barrage of Bulldoze moves. Next was Metagross, and at this point, I noticed that he was doing a mono-type team as well, except this time, it's all steel. Metagross defeated Garchomp with Meteor Mash, and I had to send out Torterra to strike back. Earthquake proved to be super effective against it, but Torterra was one-shotted with Meteor Mash. After sending out Excadrill, he retrieved Metagross and sent out Skarmory. We previously struggled with this Pokemon, but this time Excadrill took it out with Crush Claw. His next Pokemon was a Ferrothorn, which was constantly healing every turn and defeated Excadrill. I sent out Golem and managed to scrape by with a critical hit Earthquake. He brought Lucario back and took out my Golem, but Gliscor was able to take care of him. He sent out Metagross again, and although Gliscor was defeated by Metagross, Quagsire sealed the deal with Muddy Water. I was down to my last Pokemon, and things were getting intense, but after seeing an Onix, I already knew I won the battle. That was a really close fight, and a well fought one. After the fight, Headshot Bros sent out all of his legendary Pokemon, and showed me some of their transformations as well. I couldn't decide what to look at since so much was happening at the same time. But it was still an awesome experience because it's not every day you get swarmed by legendaries. I then returned to Rainbow Play's monument to check out on his progress. Although the walls have been set up, he still needs to place sponges to drain the water out, which will be a huge pain in the butt. I'm still looking forward to the finished build, and I know it'll be a great one. While I was there, I found this den nearby and immediately decided to fight it. We started the 4-star raid and found out we'll be fighting a huge Dreadnought. He looked really scary, but was defeated in 2 turns. I failed to catch him, but it was okay since I still got the rewards. While roaming in the wild, I come across this floating Alakazam cleaning its spoons near the river. So naturally, I disturbed its peace with a battle. I guess I made it really mad though, as it one-shotted most of my team. Of course, I wouldn't let it humiliate my teammate again, so I challenged it, giving it no chance to breathe. After a fierce battle, Gliscor dealt the final blow, and Alakazam performed its last disappearing act. With Alakazam dealt with, I got some pretty great stuff, including a rare candy. The battle was tough though, and I need to make my team stronger, which is why I decided to go EV train all my Pokemon. To learn more about EV training, I'll link something helpful in the description below. After a while, I finally managed to get Quagsire to learn Earthquake. This whole process was really long and tormenting, but after that, I took a pic with the real doggo, which was pretty fun. I also got invited to this Ditto Den, and since I just came back from EV training, I was happy to come along to help fight it. There were 3 Zacians in this battle, so I knew it'd be a piece of cake. After that, I decided to take a little break from training and went on to reminisce about my past adventure. Before moving into Star Town, I actually had my own place called Spicy Town. It was a place that all my fans could warp to, and one of them even built me this house. It's great to be able to fly around from time to time and see this place just forever expand. I remember seeing a lot of dirt shacks and a lot of griefing, but overall it was a fun experience. Now that I had a bit of a nostalgia trip, I feel refreshed and ready to move forward. While I was at spawn, someone was offering me a Master Ball, but I couldn't accept it as it was too much. I'm sorry dude, you're too kind and I hope no one takes advantage of you because of that. After that, I got challenged to a fight by a Donut Man and was intrigued by his lineup. He had 2 Heatrans that were easily taken out by Quagsire. Shortly after, I got into a fight with another guy and my Garchomp went to work. Garchomp pretty much countered his whole team, and I gotta say, it does feel nice when you're able to destroy someone with 1 Pokemon. Not even a moment passed by when a 3rd trainer challenged me. I guess these guys are out for blood. It was a tough match, but my team managed to pull through, and I felt unstoppable. After that, I saw this guy showing off his shiny Greninja, and started to evolve it. It's not every day that you see a shiny Ash Greninja. It makes me wonder if this guy's actually paid 7 mil to that one shop owner. At one point, people were flexing way too many legendaries here, and I got a bit overwhelmed. I got even more overwhelmed when I teleported to this altar to see 2 guys summoning Giratina. These guys could either get a new legendary on their team, or a bill from the Poke Center. I was hoping he'd fail so that I could have a stab at it, but he ended up catching it. As a matter of fact, I ended up going to the Poke Center so that I could help this guy evolve his Kadabra into an Alakazam. I thought about making a run for it, but I didn't feel like a bad guy today, so I gave it back. Moving on, I came across this giant purple Ampharos. Surely I'll have a chance since electric is weak to ground, right? But I forgot he's also a dragon type, and he wiped my team with Dragon Pulse. I wasn't going to let this guy get off easy, so I went at it once more. This time I used max revives on Garchomp so that she could bring the Ampharos low. Once I got him low enough, Excadrill finished him off with one final Crush Claw. For defeating the boss, I decided to reward Excadrill with some candy, and he learned Earthquake. Now in order to win against the Shock Gym, I need my team to be stronger than ground itself. And the Battle Tower is the perfect place for that. This was my plan to get my team to level 100. Not only does my team get EXP whenever I beat these trainers, but I also get rewards depending on the trainers. There's 4 floors, and each floor will either give me rare candies, money, or tokens. I decided to take on Jennifer to see how this would go. After Garchomp helped Dhelmise with its demise, she also helped Jellicent float to the Poke Center. Garchomp ended the fight by burying Sharpedo with an Earthquake, and with that victory, I get 4,000 coins and 10 rare candies. Thanks to Jennifer, we can now make my Torterra stronger by giving it diabetes. After that, I took on Gavin, who had quite a few pseudo-legendaries, but they still didn't stand a chance. And finally, I fought Max, who Torterra quickly defeated with the sugar rush from the candies earlier. With the first floor completed, I thought that I should try out battling some gyms before taking on the next floor. I went back to the Steel Gym, and I felt confident as ever that this would be a breeze. It definitely was not a breeze though, since the Skarmory from before was still really annoying. It took my soul to defeat it, but I was just glad I was able to make it to the gym leader. Except the gym leader's first Pokemon just so happened to be a giant Skarmory. I used all my Stone Edges to defeat that dang bird, but I'm glad I got rid of it. Next up was Metagross, which is usually a scary Pokemon, but since he's a Steel type, I was able to send him to the Shadow Realm. Magnezone almost took out Garchomp, which was scary because I really needed him. But Garchomp survived and managed to take it out, along with Bastiodon, Lucario, and his second Metagross with only one move. And with that, I defeated the Steel Gym as Garchomp basically buried all his Pokemon with Earthquake. I got Iron Head from the gym leader and I taught it to Excadrill. It was perfect for him because now I can put the drill on his head to good use. Later on, I ran in the desert in hopes to find a fire gym, and I ended up finding an epic boss. This guy was level 128, but thanks to Garchomp and Torterra, we were able to take it down quite easily. I also got a Mega Stone for Garchomp from the battle, which meant it was time to evolve him. I guess Garchomp inherited a lot from the boss earlier, as it even got its color after Mega Evolving. Now with this Mega Stone, I feel like the Battle Tower will be much easier. Before that though, I went to the move relearner to get my Pokemon new moves. I thought that the move tutor might get jealous, so I also went to him to see what moves to get as well. I checked the shop too, since it's pretty much where you'll get the best moves. I found Rock Slide in the shop and decided to buy it. I taught the move to Excadrill, and I feel like it'll be really useful in the future. Afterwards, I went to this Corviknight den where a bunch of other players and I bullied Corviknight so much that it refused to get into my Ultra Ball. After getting to spawn, I got challenged by a bunch of trainers, starting with this guy here. They did have a solid team knocking out some of my Pokemon, but the moment my Garchomp Mega Evolved was when I took the lead. Garchomp alone managed to take out 3 of the guy's Pokemon before getting knocked out by a Noivern. After which, Golem put the rest of his team in the ground. After spending some time at spawn, it didn't take long for people to crowd around me and show off all their Pokemon. This guy Mega Evolved his shiny Swampert, and the size of this thing made it look like some kind of boss. After a while, this other guy and I bet 10k on a fight, and this guy honestly made me lose trust in people. I got into a fight with him, crushed his first 3 Pokemon, and then he said there was a glitch in the battle, which sounds very suspicious. I got into another fight with him, knocked out 2 of his Pokemon, he stops doing anything, and blames it on lag. At this point, I call him out and say that he's lying, and he wants to battle again. We battle at the top of the Poke Center, and this time, he actually lets the battle play out. He must have gotten scared when I called out his bluff. I ended up winning the battle and received my 10k. Later on, this guy asks me if I'm still doing a ground type team and sends me a Landorus as a gift. He'd be amazing for my team, but there's no way I can just accept this handout. I might give him away to some random player on the server, but we'll see about that. After that, I was invited to this ice village made by a player. He also showed me his Pokemon, and I was very surprised that half of his team were legendaries. When I went outside, I got challenged to a battle by this trainer. I was in need of money, so I decided to bet 30k on this battle. He agreed, and I tried my best to win. Sadly though, he ended up beating me, and I think he was down to his last Pokemon. The funny thing was, I didn't even have 30k, so I ended up giving him all my money, which was 26k. I guess I should be more careful next time and actually check how much money I have before I gamble. Now after that, I stumbled upon this Arctozolt den, and I invited some people as well. I could definitely take on this guy by myself, but it doesn't hurt to let others get the rewards too. Suddenly this guy pulls up on his bike, which I've never seen before on this server. Where the heck did he even get this thing? The guy was kind enough to let me borrow his bike, so I roamed around with it for a bit. He also let me keep his bike, and because of that, I decided to let him join the Sandslash den. This bike won't be useful in the slightest way possible, but I still appreciate it. After that, I came back to spawn and asked if anyone was selling rare candies. This guy named Finstar quickly replied and said it would only cost 10k for a stack. That was the best deal I was ever going to get, so I made sure to take it. Now the bike seat was a bit rough around my butt, but I still enjoyed riding the bike around spawn. It was also pretty funny seeing my cape go crazy for some reason. Now I went back to the battle tower, and as I went up the steps, Finstar actually proposed to me. I accepted his proposal, and apparently we're now married. I was about to take on a trainer when suddenly he teleported to me, took off his armor, and showed off his suit. At some point, he teleported to me again and told me he made a wedding altar, and as I teleported to him, I found out that he actually did. The place had tons of chairs, red carpet, and bushes surrounding it. I can't believe I'm actually getting married. I wonder if it's too late to divorce. Anyway, I tried getting as many people as I could to come to this wonderful ceremony. Thankfully, Viking was willing to walk me down the aisle with all these people watching me. As we sat down, Finster and I said our I do's, and we were officially married. After the wedding, it got even more crowded when everyone released their Pokemon while we celebrated. Honestly, this became a much bigger thing than I expected, and I doubt people will ever forget this. A very pure and wholesome event would have been ruined if this guy showed up. Just look at how evil his eyes are. Now before taking on the battle tower again, I feel as though I should take on more gyms and get more levels. I first went to challenge the water type gym. They sent out a giant Cloyster who I knew would be a pain in the butt. Garchomp was able to take him out though, along with Omastar and Slowking, but this other Slowking brought him down. Torterra was also really useful taking out a couple of Pokemon, and my Quagsire finished off his Pokemon with an Earthquake. And just like that, I got the water badge. Next, I headed to the ice gym, which I didn't look forward to at all since I don't have a single counter to it. Torterra is also going to be mega useless since he's grass and ground. We finally challenged the gym leader and it was easy. Well, easy for the gym leader since he wiped the slippery floor with my team. But I didn't stop there. When I challenged him again, my team had a fighting chance. I was taking out his Pokemon left and right, but that all changed when Glaceon came out. Glaceon one-shots both Torterra and Gliscor, leaving me with one Pokemon left. With the tables turned, I Mega Evolved Garchomp to give myself the edge and managed to knock out Glaceon. The Walrein didn't stand a chance against it, and shortly after, I received the Freeze badge. Now as soon as I reached the Grass Gym, another hard gym for my team, I noticed that it was completely in ruins. I challenged the first trainer in the gym and sent out Golem to fight. but the opponent's Executor was just too strong. I sent out Garchomp to retaliate and transformed him to his Mega form. A single crunch from Garchomp was all it took to knock the coconuts off the sky. Next Pokemon was Torterra, and just when I was about to finish him off with another Ice Fang, he switched him out for Whimsicott. I used Excadrill for the remaining Pokemon since he was the only one who had a counter move to these grass types. I still have some Pokemon left, but without him, the battle is just over. The last Pokemon almost defeated Excadrill, but Excadrill was on some demon time and clutched the battle by defeating Bellossom before fainting. I received the Rainbow Badge after that fight and was very happy that took one try. I still had one more gym on my list, so for the last one, I'll be going to the Bug Gym. I challenged all the grunts and defeated all of them with minimal effort. I'm so glad I'm finally taking on a gym that doesn't counter my entire team. I reached the gym leader and challenged him right away. I defeated Shed Ninja instantly with Garchomp, but was taken down by an overgrown Ludicolo. Excadrill beat the large pineapple and took out Scyther as well. After Excadrill fainted, I used Golem to defeat Venomoth, but he didn't last long after that. I put Quagsire up against Scizor, but I didn't have high hopes for this. Quagsire was defeated, so I sent out Torterra and used Hyper Beam, but he avoided it. Now it was all up to my level 80 Gliscor to win this one. He somehow beat Scizor, and all that was left was Volbeat. Volbeat spammed U-turn on me, but after a fierce exchange of blows, Gliscor managed to fight his way into victory. That was an extremely close fight, and I had to use all my Pokemon for a gym that was meant to be easy for me. Later on, I noticed that I didn't have a badge case despite having 5 badges, so I asked if anyone had a spare. Finstar, my husband, gave me a black badge case which I used to store my 5 badges. Now this is why you get married, guys. Soon after that, the server restarted, so I had the fun idea of forming a snake with everyone. It soon felt like a horror movie though when I started running and everyone was chasing me. Enjoy moments like these now because you'll never get them back. Now after a wild goose chase, I entered the battle tower with high hopes of defeating the top floor. Although I had a rough start thanks to this Tyranitar, I managed to defeat this trainer by playing wisely, and of course, spamming a ton of earthquakes. I then challenged the second trainer, and this battle went off to a rough start, but luckily we had a lot of revives. It's nice to be able to use revives now, because I won't be able to use them when I fight the gym. I also used the rare candies on my team, and noticed most of them are now level 100. With that being the case, it made the third trainer battle really easy, and once I got rid of his last few Pokemon, I had finally cleared the tower. Now that we're past the training arc, it's time to finally take on the Shock Gym. Before we headed off, I looked at our team that we've trained non-stop. They've been with me through thick and thin, and I've had some special moments with them. They were also the groomsmen at my wedding. After that, I arrived at the gym area and was looking forward to finally making this happen. Man, just look at this place. Does this not feel like a boss battle? I mean, it kind of is since his Pokemon are going to be 40 levels higher. But anyway, the first matchup was Excadrill versus Tapu Koko. All Excadrill needed was one Earthquake to knock this guy out of the arena. He then sent out Electivire, and I was warned that this guy knew Earthquake, so I decided to send out Gliscor to counter it. Gliscor was able to dodge the Earthquake, and took Electivire out with still half of his HP left. He went up against Ampharos, and only did a little bit of damage, but at least I know now that he has Dragon Pulse, and that I shouldn't send Garchomp out. Except, for some reason, I did decide to use my Dragon. I knew I was still fine though, since Ampharos is a really slow Pokemon. Garchomp didn't stay for long though, since he was defeated by one Psychic from this Raichu. Luckily my Quagsire had a Focus Sash, so he was able to take down the Raichu with 1 HP left. After Quagsire fainted, I sent out Golem and managed to defeat Vikavolt with another 1 HP again, this time thanks to Sturdy. I still had Excadrill, so I thought I'd try to do some damage with him before he faints. He didn't get a chance to hit, so it's all up to Torterra now. Torterra used a powerful Leaf Storm against this washing machine and gave us the win. With that, I finally defeated the gym and accomplished my goal. It took a lot of hard work and effort, but we finally did it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you want to play on the server, you can do so with the link down below or with the IP on the screen. Again, thank you so much for the love and support. It means a lot to me, and I will see you guys next time.